One. Hello. Good evening, everybody. We were just talking about the about hard Baja Blast and the superior versions of hard Baja Blast. Um, because apparently there is a better version of hard Baja Blast than the official Mountain Dew
Yeah, there's some local
sanctioned.
brewery around here that has their own version of it that's really good.
Yeah. Um, I'm glad that that innovation has been made. We are here tonight, everybody. With it's Annika, not Annika, right? I always get that fucked up in my head.
Either one.
Well, yeah. I mean, which one do you prefer? It's Annika, right?
No, like I genuinely just like hearing what other people say. It's
Really?
interesting to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the same way with my name. Like when I was before I changed my name, I was very stickler about like you have to spell it right, otherwise I'm pissed. Now people
Mm.
go like Devon, Devin. I don't give a shit. It's all good. So, um, I can kind of relate in that
Yeah,
way.
I get like a little hit of dopamine every time I hear a different way. So
Oh,
it's fun.
okay.
I like it.
Okay. I'll see if I can think of any other. Those are the only two options of pronunciation that come to my mind. But everyone,
Annika,
we're
Annika, and Anika are the three
Anika.
common ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then there's a
Yeah.
fourth one that I've only heard once, and I don't remember what it was.
Oh, okay. Anika. Anika. Anyway, we're
That might have been it. Anika.
Anika.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. Um, anyway, everyone, we're joined on the stream tonight by Annika Trans.Peaks, not Twins Peaks. Annika Trans.Peaks, also known as Angela Badalamenti on Substack. Um, yes. David Lynch shirt, RIP to a real one.
Yeah.
Um, thank you so much for being down to do this. I'm really excited to talk about this. Oh yeah, there he is. There's the one.
Try not to flash people. Okay.
Right. Twitch guidelines. Twitch doesn't let you show anything fun. Um, but yeah, welcome everyone. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. It's been a while since we've done a stream on this channel, so it's really cool to see people here. Oh, Funky Fresh Fangit said, I have my whole family gathered around the TV for this one. Oh, that's so cool. Thanks for
Oh,
being here. Hello, hello, Fangit family. It's so cool when it's on the TV to me, when the Twitch is on the TV. Uh,
you just sounded so old the way you said that.
I
The
know.
Twitch is on the TV.
I got the. Are you watching that Twitch on the TV? Yes. Um, oh, speaking of shirts, you got the
Uh,
David Lynch shirt. I had a
mhm.
faggot subaltern shirt made. I think
Oh
I told you
yes,
this.
yes,
Yes.
that's amazing. That needs to be the
Yes.
name of like a nightclub or something.
Right? It's such a cool
Or
phrase.
dungeon. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, my sister was making like pride shirts and she was like, "What do you want yours to say?" And I was like, "I already know. I'm trying to rep the best gender theory on the market today." That's what I'm flagging. On the television, yes. Twitch on the television. Um, but yeah, we're here tonight to read through the Cizen. I don't know how I don't know how she pronounces it. Another
I
pronunciation.
don't really know
Cizen
either.
systems, uh, gender ternary theory, which I think it's fair to say we're both pretty big fans of this as a new technology for
Yeah,
talking about gender.
yeah, I really like it. it I think it's really applicable. I think it kind of addresses a lot of like common criticisms of different gender theories. I think it's good.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it does just kind of a lot of the like little debates that happen in feminist and like trans spaces that are like, well, what about this? You know, like it just really cuts that stuff off at the knees
Yeah,
in a satisfying way where it's like, well, you know, we don't need to get all philosophical about how so and so identifies and da da da. You know, am I a man in the rain? Am I a man on the plane? Da da da. Like, it's like, no, what are the material forces that are like affecting you,
Exactly, exactly. And
which is
I mean, we'll get into this more when we get into it, but I love that it, you know, kind of takes that Judith Butler idea of like gender is what you do. And it's like, no, gender is what's done to you.
yes.
And I think that's a direct quote from it. And it, it really highlights the oppressive structure of gender and the way it's enforced and um, yeah, and how that manifests.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing that she talks about in this piece is moving away from talking about gender in terms of gender as a class, like what your gender class position is. It's not your presentation. It's not some choice you make, which that's
Hmm.
something that I know for me at least I find so frustrating when people are like femme presenting folks or like when they talk like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, and it's like, yeah, like at the end of the day, your gender class isn't really up to you. It's, the social and political force of patriarchy that forces it onto you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and half the time when people talk about, oh, this person is femme presenting or like whatever, they talk about presentation. What they actually mean is that piece of something's being projected onto you from the outside. Like, you know,
Mm.
like people would describe me as femme presenting when what they meant was like at the time, like, oh, you have breasts or something like that. It's like, well, okay, that's I didn't make any presentational choice here. Meanings are being written onto me, you
Yeah.
know.
And
Um,
then it's also like, what does femme presenting, I mean, it doesn't even communicate the thing that a lot of people claim it's trying to communicate because, like, a femme presenting cis trad wife is not treated the same as like a femme presenting faggy gay boy.
right, right. Yes, it's ridiculous to like equate those things or like when people talk about like oh, femmes labor is exploited and masks don't do anything. Like, have you heard people like talk in that way as if
Mhm.
like butch women aren't like the pillar of like every community space? Like, what are you talking about? It's only femmes doing things. Yes,
Yep.
butches butches get it done. So, but yeah, but this theory just like gives us an opportunity to sidestep a lot of that stuff that's like gets really in the weeds about how people feel and how people identify and like all this little semantic stuff that I think frustrates
And
both of us online.
yeah. And I think that one criticism, I haven't really seen any criticism of it. I mean, it might be out there. I haven't really looked. But I feel like one criticism that people might have is that, they might consider the theory misgendering or that it doesn't like validate them. But I think kind of the whole point of the theory is that, patriarchy and like the social order isn't trying to validate you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more describing like what actually happens in the world rather than, your own kind of personal feelings about your gender.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like that, this theory is talking about your class position. It's not like invalidating you or something like that. It's just saying like this
Yeah.
is the experience, um, regardless of what you try to do about it. You know, um, yeah. Silarsa in the chat said, "Suddenly a woman has a fade and a big rack and wears baggy clothes, and she's a chauvinistic pig." What? um, yeah, exactly. Hey, photo, welcome. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, another thing about this theory, again, to just keep just really talking it up, that I think is great
Hmm.
is I think it does get to the heart of like some of the more valid or genuinely intended, but like maybe missing itself things that sometimes trans guys have when they're trying to talk about their oppression or their class position being different from like um, a certain kind of like empowered, gender conforming, whatever cis man. That like yes, you might be marked as failing at manhood in some way and be punished for that. But it's not because as a trans man, because you're a woman and you can speak for women's concerns as if you are still 100% living it or whatever, like there's um I like how much of a catch-all the like faggot subaltern
Yeah,
is for a lot of experiences.
yeah, I feel like it feels pretty universally applicable, and even to things outside of gender, that I'll probably say more on when we get to that. I think it does a really good job of just describing how hierarchy manifests in general,
Yeah.
and like what conditions are required for hierarchy to maintain itself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of parallels um to like the social construction of like whiteness and lots of different things in play.
Hmm.
Disability, like a lot of things with respectability politics too. So
Hmm.
yeah. Hey Maddie, if you're still here, thanks for popping in. Hope you get a good sleep. Wish you
Yeah,
were
hi
here.
Maddie, good to see
Yeah,
you.
love you. Yes. BTS, hard thing. um, hey Chicago. Hey everybody. um, So yeah, so the plan for tonight is to hop in to the essay and kind of read through it and respond to it. Oh, thanks for the follow, Anija. And as we read through it, people feel free to pop questions or reactions into the chat. Because I think especially if you haven't read a lot of like Marxist theory or like materialist writing, some of it you might be like, huh? And you, I mean that's me too. Like that's still relatively new territory for me too. So like we'll try and unpack stuff, and then also just like as I'm reading, Annika just interrupt me at any time with additions and stuff, and I'll try to take pauses to per section and stuff. Um, if that sounds good for everybody.
Yeah,
All right. Should we get into this thing?
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna share my screen. Very bad OBS work. I'll also actually before I do that, I should pop this into the chat. Oh God, I'm switching back again. So this is gender ternary and subalternization rebuild from the CISN system on Substack. I'll pin that shit right there so you can see it. And then I'll go back to sharing my screen. So you can feel free to read along there. Definitely subscribe to her Substack. You can read the original version that is, I think, a little shorter and it uses faggot more often. So if you like that, check that out. It's really good. It's really great writing, and also there's a voiceover text to speech version, so you can listen to it. But we're also going to do that right now. Um, it's gender ternary and subalternization rebuild, a materialist feminist prototype technology for the trans feminist era. Um, Published by the CISN system on July 1st of this year. Um, and I really like that she kind of calls it a technology.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of jump in and say about it.
Please, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just think it's a really good way to look at um, theory like this, where I mean, it's a tool. It's something that to analyze, um, patriarchy and gender structure, using to take a closer look at something else and to take it apart and dissect it and figure out
Yeah,
what it works.
absolutely. So I got a couple messages in the chat about Annika's audio. Is she missing? Is it too what's going on? Did it just get like crunchy? The audio. Hot cigarette moms, but hard to understand. Laggy robotic.
Is
Okay.
it something that's like intermittent, or has it been like that the whole
Seems
time?
like all of a sudden people are starting to say it. She is sounding robotic. No, it's consistent. Just started.
Okay.
Ongoing. Okay, we're getting mixed
It's
mixed
just
signals here.
started.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just hit hard and keeps going.
Okay. Let me.
It's probably the connection, but it's probably internet related more than your. But who knows? Okay,
Okay. Is that better though?
does that sound better at all? She's too powerful for this stream. She's too powerful for my.
Nope. Not better.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh. Video is lagging
Um.
now. Really cool. Okay, let's see here.
Oh, that's okay. If it's the video, probably my
Yeah.
connection
Could try to mute,
somewhere.
unmute, reset mic device. She's also lagging. Okay, let's see here. My really good OBS skills. I could also
All right. I'm
try.
gonna try.
Okay. Screen share inception. Yes. I do very bad streamer tactics. Hopefully Maddie already went to sleep and is not seeing this. They're silencing her. Once again, women being silenced. Ask the piss goblin in the other room to check her internet, maybe. Yeah, I'm sure Loki is playing, that Marvel game and using up all the internet, and it's her fault. Yeah, I think it's a connection issue or lag, even though it looks fine to me. Gotta stop the update download for Stardew. Let me switch back to this real quick. Normally, I'm the one that's being told to plug my internet into the router and fix my fucked up life, and of course, I never do it. And it still could be my fault somehow. It could definitely be my fault. Okay, I can't hear you now. Let me see if that's something I did. No, you're not muted. Internet gonna internet at the worst time. That's the name of the game on these streams. You already know. You already know my internet sucks regularly. You could also try leaving the call and coming back in if it's being fucky. Okay. Hey, Gavin. We're having some of our regular old internet issues here on the stream. I'm gonna just say it's probably my fault. I miss her already. uh, okay. Hello. Okay, I can hear you. Now I'm gonna pipe you in, and hopefully everybody else will be able to hear you. Give that a second. Okay. If you want to talk, and we can get some input from the chat on how you sound.
Yeah. Is this working? Is this better? Worse? Same? Any feedback? Hello. I heard amazing. Yes.
Okay.
Great. Perfect.
Yes.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you, everybody. I know I'm
Okay.
amazing and perfect.
Yes. Amazing. Beautiful. Show-stopping. Spectacular. Much better. Okay. All right. Everybody, tighten
Cool.
your buttholes while I switch to the screen share. And just hold all the bandwidth in. uh, she's back. I missed you. Yes. Oh, y'all are great. Okay. All right. So here we are. Gender ternary and subalternization rebuild. Um, and as we were just saying, this is a theory. This is a technology that we can use to talk about gender-based oppression, and like I think that there's just like a really nice tentativeness that she put into this whole theory. That's like this is still being reworked. This is still being figured out. Um, use this as it's useful. That I just think is just really cool to like see something like this take shape in real time. It's just tight. Um, okay, I'll just dive right in. And again, interrupt me at any point. A brief forward. The reception of the original gender ternary article, Fagotization and the Extant Gender Ternary, was much larger than I could have ever foreseen. I believed in what I was saying, and I did and do believe it was a critical, if necessarily immature, innovation in the contemporary feminist technologies of analysis. What I did not foresee was how many people would resonate with and profoundly welcome and appreciate the ways in which this innovation allowed them to acquaint a degree of coherence, a framework to understand their peculiar relationship with gender power and gendered violence, which the contemporary paradigms of transfeminism failed to afford them. This was both heartwarming and heartrending to me. It became clear to me there was a definite, urgent need for an innovation of this kind, if even not this particular innovation, and that there was an ongoing human cost to the lack of this analytical technology. It is undeniable and trivially evident, to me at least, that the original article had significant shortcomings, particularly born of the conditions of its creation. While the central concepts and analyses were processes which I had been cultivating for years, the actual explication of them in the article was done rather hastily. I was eager to get out my ideas to an audience and test the waters to see how they would be received. I did not have the necessary context to understand that these ideas would be as valuable to others as they were to me, and importantly, I did not have the benefit of the knowledge of what parts of the article desperately needed strengthening, which was elucidated to me by the vibrant and enthusiastic response the original article received. Armed with this knowledge now, I felt that it was due time to make another, hopefully more polished, attempt at discussing my understanding of gender class. Even if it is still a somewhat immature framework, I hope that this development can help mature it just that little bit more, such that it can afford more use to people who would value it. While this article is on some level a response to and continuation of the original document, I do not think of it as a sequel or a follow-up to the original gender ternary article. Rather, it feels more like a remake to me than a direct sequel, gender sequel, a rebuild of Evangelion more than it is an Iron Man 2. I will hopefully go over the concepts of the original article both concisely, but with enough depth that the original article is not required reading. I would, however, still encourage reading the original article, if only for context of the development of these ideas, to see the vibrant conversation in the comments section by engaged readers, and to get a sense of the trajectory of this article. That said, I do want to be explicit that while I broadly stand by what I said in the Fagotization article, I specifically felt that the original article had an issue with scope. Insufficiently constrained in some parts, wildly insufficiently explicated in others. I hope that for now, this new iteration can be the authoritative version, and I hope that I can successfully preempt some of the flaws implicit to the original. Finally, a specific editorial note. While I believe the term fagotization was snappy, concise, and helped clarity for some readers, I do believe that it often functioned to the detriment of the article's efficacy. For that reason, I have substituted this for the term subalternization, which I believe serves the same mechanical purpose, but with better clarity. And it's... Oh, go ahead.
And then, yeah, real quick first one before reading this. I think it does cover everything. But if you enjoy this, the first one is good. And I do kind of like that kind of raw, in your face, provocative writing style of the first one. It's a lot of fun. And I don't know, I think theory can be fun. It doesn't have to be dull and boring. Not that this is dull and boring, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Every time I screen share, the mic is shitty. Okay, interesting. That's not great. But as soon as I switched it back, then it sounded better. So it's the screen share. It just went away when the screen share ended. Okay. Interesting. So that means I could read without it on screen share, which is not ideal, or I can toggle to this view as soon as Annika starts talking, which is also, you know, silencing women, which is not great either. So probs bandwidth. Yes, probably bandwidth. Um,
So it's your fault, not
it's
mine.
my fault. I really thought it was. I knew it was my fault because it's always my internet's fault, even though my internet is on
Typical
paper.
man, just trying to blame women for their problems.
Yes. Mario Freak says it's mostly illegible on the screen share for me anyway. Um, is there wired headphones that can be used? Yeah, we're both using headphones, Solar. So it's not. It's not that. It's the
Yeah, and if it's the screen share, it wouldn't be the Bluetooth headphones. That wouldn't be
right.
it.
Yeah, I don't think it's headphone issues. Um, well, I can just read, um, and y'all can listen along, and then if you care to, also open up the piece in a separate tab. Is that how do people feel? Is that acceptable? Um, read to me like teacher, please. Yeah, separate tab is great. Okay, we'll do that. Not ideal, but we'll do that. I like faces. Yes, yeah, that's why we're here ultimately. Um, I think we can skip over the acknowledgments for the most part. I'll just say that she shouts out her fiance Hannah for being a big influence on the work, and to her friend Rhiannon, as well as a lot of the people who have responded to the original piece, and also to her friend Lai, who all influenced the work. Um, yeah. Uh, and from there we can dive into the whole dang thing. Uh, Gender Ternary and Subalternization Rebuild, a materialist feminist prototype technology for the transfeminist era, the cis-en system. There is a rot at the core of contemporary feminism, a hole at the bottom of transfeminism. Many believe feminism to have gone the way of Marxism-Leninism, a defunct technology of a bygone era, which serves a vestigial function with little urgency. I fear the reality is far more desperate. We need feminism now more than ever, just as we need Marxism-Leninism now more than ever. Feminism is a technology which we need, but like every technology, it is critical that we correctly innovate upon it for the material conditions of the moment in which we live. Contemporary popular discourse have successfully eaten a number of feminisms, including transfeminism. Popular media peddles in petty, trite, pseudo-feminist aphorisms which are allowed to proliferate specifically because they have been defanged. Popular feminisms have become analytical frameworks rife with idealist errors, which eviscerate their explanatory power. In so doing, they have lost their revolutionary potential. The salt has lost its saltiness. These feminisms no longer challenge gender hegemony. They are no longer historically progressive analyses because they are incapable of correctly understanding gender class. Without correct analysis, we are as blind as liberals, groping around in the dark, trying to make sense of things by the twinkling, disparate lights of lived experience, without the unifying structure of theory. We make errors, and these errors have human costs. As responsible political agents, it is critical that we prioritize correct analysis, one which is not rooted in idealisms and aphorisms, but which understands gender as a class structure, embodied in material structures of social and political organization. I contend that there are three genders: power, not power, and subaltern. So that's the introduction, the table setting for the piece. Anything we should say or flag from that? Cool.
Um, yeah.
Part 1, Gender Ternary. As with a mathematical proof, let us begin by setting a few postulates, givens which we can understand intuitively as true. Number 1, identity categories which are relevant to a dialectical materialist analysis are those which are class systems. We can understand this as race class, political economic class, or relevant to our analysis, gender class. 2. Classes contained within a given class structure are trivially and intrinsically legible to those given class structures. An underclass must be legible to the class structure to be an underclass. Re-embodied. Faggot is censored in the chat on mobile, I believe. So that might be what's going on there. 3. Class inclusion is not a choice. It is not a matter of will, preference, desire, emotion, expression, spiritual or ontological category, or any other such thing. While decisions a person makes can affect where they will be forcibly classed, inclusion within a class is a result of a confluence of material and historical forces which move a given society, which then impose a class upon an individual. 4.
So
Okay.
I think just right there, I feel like it's an important distinction when you're talking about gender class. It's talking about the way that your
Mm-hmm.
class is not the same as your two very different things. Oh no, it's robotic
That's
again?
crazy. Let me see here if I can.
This is also like slightly gender affirming because I like being a robot.
Yes, if it was more like legible and understandable, that would be sick. Um, oh god,
I can try changing headphones. Maybe that will fix it.
it's probably. And then people are like, "Oh, it's suddenly fine." Y'all,
Suddenly fine.
it's sporadic. I could
Does
put
it get better
on.
when I go off screen?
Well, I did just switch from the Google Chrome window to OBS window, so that could have fixed it. I also
Okay.
I could put on my hotspot and connect to my hotspot, but then everything might die while I'm switching connection, and that would suck. Um, it's just really hard to understand, then really clear, Re-embody says.
It stopped when I said it was affirming.
Definitely targeted. Oh my god.
uh,
Uh, it's like there's a lag, and then it goes as fast as the lag catches up, and then it's okay, like off and on. Okay.
huh.
Yes. Chrome seems like the problem. Yes, Chrome does seem like the problem. Okay. Let me use my brain powers to open the reading in a different device on a different thing, um, like Microsoft Edge, which I don't think is any
Oh,
better,
it
right?
might
That has
not. Yeah, it might not be bandwidth. It could be Chrome eating your RAM.
yes, it could be that. Let me close my other Chrome thing. Um, okay. I don't have Firefox. I'm sorry. Everybody yell at me. I deserve it. I know Chrome is evil and a RAM hog. Um, save the article on a non-connection. Is that anything? Yeah, I can do that. I can put it in good old Microsoft Word. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no problem. Thank you, everybody, for your patience.
The PDFs are also RAM
Microsoft
hog.
Word is not much better, but well, we do what we can.
Isn't it weird that computers have gotten worse at displaying text? Like the most basic
Yeah,
thing that
it's
they were
so
designed to
annoying.
do.
Like and like in baffling ways, like in the last year Tumblr has changed how it works, where like a long post, every paragraph is a discrete object, like text object. so you can't select all of your text anymore, like in a Tumblr post. Just like
Oh my
really,
god.
really dumb enshittification. Like, ugh. Um, but yes, okay, I got my Word document here. Thanks for your patience, everybody. But yeah, you were saying, Annika, like this theory is really clearly saying that your gender class position, it's your class position, and that's not something that you can choose. That's caused by economic, political forces.
Yeah. The socio-political structure, and it really doesn't care what gender you are when it's
Mm-hmm.
doing that.
Right. And I think if people listening to this theory feel invalidated by it, then just like they can keep in mind like your gender identity or whatever is not the same thing as your gender class. Like if you need to mentally separate those things or whatever, like it's just like you can't choose your economic class, right? You can't identify your way out of like, even though people do try and play it.
Still
What? The sound?
apparently. Try different setup.
Okay.
Maybe it is the headphones.
Worth a shot. That's so strange how it just goes in and out. Windows 11 start menu is a locally rendered website page. God. Now, in the fucking operating system. Well, I have noticed that if I'm just trying to look up basic settings, half the time it just like Googles or Bings or whatever the computer settings instead of actually checking it. Chubby Kumquat says, it happens when Trans.Peaks starts talking, and then as she keeps talking, it goes away, but it takes a bit longer.
Okay. Can you hear me? Is this better?
I can hear you. It's always sounded fine for
Okay.
me, so hopefully people will, like, let us know.
Also, remind me after the stream, there's a way to fix the Windows
Oh,
search so it
yeah,
doesn't
I would love
bing
to know that.
everything. You have to do like a registry edit, but it's pretty simple and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's
Good.
amazing. But yeah, I don't know. Is that better? Are people in chat able to hear me?
Let's see,
Not
better.
really better, better.
The jury is still deliberating on this.
Yeah,
Better right
better
now.
right now.
It was worse than got better randomly again. Literally mid word got better right now. Okay. Okay, y'all. It's very. It seems like it's like at the beginning of phrases or something, but shrug. Yeah, I don't. Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. We'll try this for a bit and see if that works.
Yeah, hopefully it's at the beginning of her talking for sure. Okay. Well. Ugh. Hopefully. Um. Okay, so we went through the first three premises of the gender ternary. Identity categories are that are relevant are class systems. Classes have to be legible to the given class structure. Class inclusion is not a choice. Number 4, classes exist in contradiction with each other. When the contradictions which animate their class antagonisms are resolved, the classes cease to exist, trivially, as they are themselves denotations of a relationship with power. So, put in another way, classes experience class conflict. That's how we kind of define what they are, basically, that they're in conflict with one another. And then 5, it is evident that there are people within society who are gendered as a class distinct from the capitalized legitimate genders, but rather occupy a subaltern class position. And I think that's just straightforwardly like trans feminism, trans misogyny awareness, like 101.
The process of third gendering where trans women are counted or women were counted as some
Mm-hmm.
baggedy third thing. Um, and even when people call us
us men in a derogatory way. Like they're not actually counting us and treating us like men. They're still
Right. Right. Yeah, they're using the language that's as maximally like violent and allows them to shore up, often if it's, let's say, cis women, shore up their gender position as in need of protection or whatever, to like invoke violence against trans women. But there's nothing that's actually treating trans women as if they're men, or any of the aspects of the class position that men have that trans women are even remotely benefiting from in that situation. It's like you said, third gender.
Mhm. And that's also one of the things about this particular essay, or model of gender. And we'll get into it more. Is that it talks about lots of different people can be third gender. It's not just trans women. Like universalizing trans women and talking about trans misogyny affects everyone, while still at the same time like very much keeping the focus on the way that system works and the way that it
Mm-hmm.
consistently
Yeah,
degenders
yeah.
trans
It kind
women.
of, it both like centers that experience in a lot of ways, but does also, like you said, in a cleaner way than anything else I've ever seen, talk about how that operates, why trans misogyny exists, and like also like this process of subalternization, like who all that encompasses. Because like, even just for me, I have sometimes had questions about like where exactly is that line of who experiences trans misogyny with regard to things um, like people who could be mistaken for trans women, who are like very effeminate gay men, or like AMAB NB people who like they have some of those experiences, but maybe they don't fully have the experiences of trans misogyny. And like being able to talk about, basically, are you being penalized for not being a man correctly, for those people, potentially putting them in the subaltern category. That makes a lot of sense to me. Even though that is also still a really different experience, because, and maybe we can get into this later, like it's not, um, it strikes me that some of this stuff is not like very simply categorical, right? Like some people are more subalternized than others, or in more contexts.
Yeah, and it also does, we'll get into it more later too, but it talks about the way some gender can be kind of fluid. The boundaries can be a little fuzzy. People can move between depending on, different actions they take or different contexts and circumstances.
Right. Yeah. We're still getting feedback that people can't understand what you're saying.
So weird.
There are
Um,
subtitles that Twitch should be doing, but if it's already robotic, then I don't think that would fix it. It's just constantly robotic now. Hmm. Let me see. Well, then I think the only option to do, if the possibility is that it's my internet, is for me to switch to my hotspot, which means we're going to disconnect for a second, but then we'll reconnect, um, because that seems like the most likely candidate. Then that's the other thing we can change, is my connection. So so we can do that. I'm gonna,
all right.
so I'll disappear for everyone because I'm gonna be switching internets for just a second here. So just stay on the stream, everybody, and I'll see you in a second.
See you soon.
Yeah.